All right, EA Ermor, turn 71. Surely this can't be worse than turn 70. Dire Portent, uh-oh. Let's see here. So this is Niflheim putting Illwinter back up. I really should be checking the global status every turn at this point, so we'll definitely take a look at the global situation after we see all the events. I was not involved in this dispel. I suspect it was probably Therados, since they're doing the best, or they're probably doing the best other than Niflheim. They're probably Niflheim's main opponent, but some other people might be working together. Who knows? There's a lot of people that don't like Illwinter, and then we're bringing in a bunch of summons, mostly on our capital. Speaking of our capital, looks like we got hit with some remote attack spells, most likely. Spell passed through the Dome of Flaming Death, which blasted the enemy spellcaster and killed them. So that's good news. And then let's see, another spell passed through. Unfortunately, this spellcaster survived the blast. Maybe we got an affliction on him, but that will hopefully dissuade Russ from messing with our capital too much. We'll see. Certainly, it's going to make it more painful for him. And then we had a mind hunt. So this person was killed. This might have been the mercenary, or maybe he recruited another commander in there, and we just got someone random. We'll have to see if we get raided by that mercenary water mage. And then let's see, this is one of our forts that's bordering. No, okay, so we didn't kill this man. This guy, he's been dodging a lot of mind hunts, which is very sad. And then, I'm not sure. I think this is one of our forts. I thought we were patrolling, but clearly we weren't. No, actually, this is not one of our forts. So we definitely lose that. No confusion there. And then, we have a few of our own raids. We have some, mages here. We're going to do some Skelly spam, and I think, we have some fire elementals, and this is just some barbarian PD, so I think this is going to go fine. Yep, there come the fire elementals. And then, of course, the nice thing, too, about this is, we have the fire jars. We don't have to worry about reloading this group. They're going to keep making fire elementals until they get, jumped on and killed, probably. I'm kind of going, back and forth in terms of, how many items to use when raiding. Because on the one hand, raiding is a fairly dangerous activity. So, you might be giving items to your opponent, and you're more likely to be losing those items. On the other hand, sending reloads with raiders is just a lot of extra strain, on your logistics. So there's definitely arguments in both directions, and possibly we lost some augurs? No. Okay, so that's good. Maybe these guys are an advance and cast spells. Oh yeah, they are. That's a little scary. May want to change that. But anyway, it does work out for us. We don't lose anything. Take out a bit of barbarian PD. We do like that. And then this is some of our legionaries raiding in the wake of that water mage. And we bump into one of his thugs. Very nice. So, this is a fairly predictable raid, and, we're going to lose this legionary force, and that's okay. I think you just sort of have to accept as early age Ermor, if you're going to try to use these legionaries as raiding forces, that you're just going to lose some of them, to stuff like this, and then you just try to deal with it with mind hunt or magic duel. I think in this case, I probably should have a magic dueler with each one of these squads. So you play and you learn, and that would make this squad a lot more dangerous to something like this. So, but we don't have that, so those legionaries are definitely screwed. Yeah. We don't really do anything there, so that's a bit sad. And then our army moves out. Ooh, we do take a decent number of losses there. So it looks like he didn't really choose to move anything in, Ubar. But of course, he was doing a decent amount of foreign recruitment here, and we do just send. We're starting to run out of long dead horsemen. Maybe shouldn't have just sent them in, but I don't know. You never really know. And then of course, our fine ogres are getting frozen by our white mages, but that's okay. They're kind of just there to get eaten. And then it's probably some birds came in and caused some confusion in the back line. There may have been some friendly fire, definitely probably some evocation friendly fire to some of our front lines. So it looks like most of our losses were the long dead horsemen, and then we actually enslaved mind on a few people. That was fine. Our army moved forward. There wasn't really any resistance. And then it looks like Vanheim is, I think, actually just locking down Abyssia, because Abyssia, just pinging it. So he just wanted to see if there was anything patrolling Looks like there isn't really, except maybe this Beast Tamer. I don't think that's normally part of their province defense. So yeah, nothing too scary, like just Abyssian, province defense, which as province defense goes is more scary than normal, but it's not an army or anything like that. And then we get raided by Russ here. This is, in a cave. Probably relatively minimal. Yeah, just a bit of his, a few of his sacreds. Oh, nice. Being led by a prophet. So he's going to get a bless off, but we don't really have anything here to resist him. And then this is probably Femoria taking out, it's definitely Femoria, probably taking out Ulm, and there's nothing left. So a little sad we missed that climactic final battle, but that's how it goes. And then this probably is a storm. And so Vanheim has quite a bit of stuff. These are all casters. Looks like mostly probably Van Jarls, maybe some hearses in there, and a bunch of their sacreds. So this is his scary doom stack, and there goes Fog Warriors. That's another thing. Last turn, Fog Warriors would have been a really useful spell for that battle that we lost, and probably something we could have done. That was another thing that we will hopefully change for our upcoming battle on our capital. Nice. This was probably just some regular flight. The Vanheers are still walking, but of course the commanders can set themselves to fly. Always useful in a siege situation. Abyssia doesn't have too much in here. Just some fire mages, which are scary. He may have lost a few Van Jarls there, but overall I think that worked out for him. Didn't lose anything. Very nice. Probably some fire resistance gear in there, or maybe just got lucky. I don't think Abyssia is really playing this anymore, so totally understand where he's coming from. And then of course there's Burden of Time. Always we have some unexpected events. Ooh, we lose some gold. Thanks, Misfortune. Not a good moment. Hey, we gain a little bit of it back, half of it back. Ooh, lab burns down, although this isn't a fort that we're probably not going to contest. So, and this is the thing, right? We have a bunch of fortune tellers, both in the form of the augurs and the augur elders, and they help block bad events. But now that we're emptying some of our forts, right, there's no augurs here, or maybe there's one augur in this place, and you see you move those guys out and immediately the lab burns down. So misfortune can be pretty rough, but the fortune tellers really help mitigate a lot of that. So I do think misfortune on a nation that has fortune tellers is stronger than normal, because you can block a lot of this bad stuff. So always sad to be losing a lab, but like I said, it's fine. Maybe people are being sacrificed in the woods. Probably just a rumor. And then one of our scouts gets patrolled out. Not actually sure where this is. And then we had an augur die of old age. Burden of Time. And then Ulm was vanquished, and then one of our mages died somewhere. This actually might be in our army. I think he was diseased, so this is actually a little sad because our army just got weaker. Where does he? He showed up in a fort that we're probably going to lose soon, although he does gain a level in death magic, which is very lucky and very nice. So he will probably try to join our capital defense. Interestingly, we don't see Russ's main army attacking us anywhere, so possibly he's pulling back to deal with Niflheim. That's really the only thing I can think, because it's okay, I was expecting him to immediately jump on my capital, but I thought, there's also an outside chance maybe he splits up to take more territory, or maybe he chooses to take our bordering fort, but we didn't see it at all this turn, so I feel like it must be Niflheim, but we'll take a look and see if we still have sight on it. So I'll catch you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. This was another not confusing turn, just an unexpected turn. So, in my mind, I was getting ready for desperate capital defense, expecting Russ to jump on top of it, maybe take some of our other infrastructure first. But of course, right, it's very rare that you get just a pure 1v1 in Dominion's games in the free-for-all setting, and it looks like, Niflheim, who I've been worried about all game long, I think rightfully so, has actually kind of bailed us out a little bit, possibly here. So we see this throne that, I'm pretty sure, I'll double check, almost positive that this was Russ's until recently. We haven't been scouting it too tightly, but we've been through here once or twice. Now has a Niflheim flag, right? And then luckily we can see that, we haven't lost contact with that giant rust stack, which has shrunk a little bit because he did not renew contracts on some of his mercenaries. So that's nice, right? That is one of the downsides of using mercenaries. Maybe he feels that he doesn't really need those, numbers, and that the chaff wouldn't really be that useful against Niflheim. Or, the world is dying and turning into an ice ball. Possibly Russ is also having some money problems. So anyway, this giant army has come up in this direction, pretty close to his capital. So I'm assuming this is heading over to the throne, or maybe looking. This is Satis, right? Another capital. So maybe looking to defend that. So we're trying to get our scouts in position to watch that. Was tempted to assassinate, but I think everything here is a little too dangerous. So this guy's going to be more useful just sort of as a scout and killing random wizards and stuff that are moving around his territory. So of course, we pulled almost everything we had into our capital, and now the question is like, well, what do we do with it now? And obviously we need to shut off, right? Like until we shut off the berserker, his sacred production in his capital, like there's no way that we're going to win this war. So there's an argument to be made for, hey, let's just take everything in the capital, right? What was going to be a desperate capital defense, we now just throw in a massive gamble, like right at his capital. And that might be the right move, but I think that there's a couple downsides. I mean, for starters, he still has some stuff in his capital, right? We can only see one mage, but there could be some other mages, right, hiding underneath this. We know that there's like at least a few, probably one turn of skin shifter recruitment. His sacred's in here, and he'll be recruiting more. We can see that recruitment is going on. And, he has a good amount of like chaff in here as well. So it wouldn't be an easy fight, even if this is all that we fought. But I think there's a good chance that if we were to threaten his capital in that way, it would kind of force him, right? Again, right? If his sacred production gets shut off, that's a huge crippling blow. Like he can't really afford to let that happen, which means this army comes right back at us, which maybe we could beat, but we haven't been doing great so far. So it's like we're gonna have to fight this huge doom stack in addition to everything in his capital. I don't have great confidence there. So I'm hoping that this just keeps going, over to Niflheim, and someone else can take a turn at killing some skin shifters, which would be great. And there is a certain attraction to the hilariousness of it all in that we're going to go back into Agartha, right? Like, we can't actually see it, for a brief second. I'm like, oh, maybe he like teleported or gatewayed, all of his armies out somewhere else. But of course, no, we've lost all the surrounding provinces. So we don't have sight on this anymore. It looks like, he chose to just like raid out a little bit and didn't move his main force out, like probably doing a little bit of mage recruitment, maybe recruiting a little bit of his garbage. Obviously, he can't add any of his sacreds to this force, but he can add other stuff. Right, if we go and we throw everything at his capital, like this is still a dangerous enough army to start like taking our infrastructure, right? And obviously he's taking a lot of our provinces as well. So, even if we were to win this battle on his capital, I think we might just lose overall because we would just lose too much other territory. So now actually, I was already planning on making this move. In fact, I've actually already submitted this turn. But talking through it, I do think this is the right move, going back into Agartha. So we're going to send the majority of our stuff, right, down to Agartha. It's not like too different of a plan, right? Long dead horsemen out in front. Then we have a bunch of trolls this time, a bunch of gladiators. Like, we got kind of a smaller fire alley, if you will. We're not really summoning many fire elementals. I think this guy's going to blast out like a few of them. So we are adjusting it slightly. We're going to try a fatigue play, which I don't have super high hopes for, but especially because we know he has relief, but I don't know if he's going to have relief in his smaller army in Agartha, because we know that his mage support there is somewhat constrained, right? There's not a ton of mages there. We do have a separate fellow who should be casting anti-magic, so hopefully that all goes well. So yeah, the main differences, right, are we're going to have anti-magic this time, fingers crossed. We are going to have fog warriors this time, fingers crossed. And then we're also going to throw up Quagmire, right, which is going to slow down his units who, want to get close to us and beat our face in. And it'll also tire them out. And then we also have Rigor Mortis, which will also, tire his units out. And I do believe we're able to get relief up ourselves. And then, yeah, we're going to throw out Wailing Winds as well, because, like, sure, why not? And then, Wailing Winds is not good against his Berserkers, right? Because once you go Berserk, you're not going to rout. But if you fall asleep, you lose your Berserk status. So assuming they don't take damage again, there's a chance that Wailing Winds will rout them. So we'll see. And he's been doing a good job of casting Growing Fury, but we haven't been casting Wailing Winds as much, right? He's got to pick and choose. There's only so many things he can do with his nature magic, right? So it's like, does he do Relief? Does he do Growing Fury? So we're just going to, kind of throw everything at him and see what sticks. Most of our stuff is not going to love Rigor Mortis. We do have like a few skeletons. The fire elementals won't care about it, and the devils and the long dead horsemen. But the rest of our stuff definitely will care about Rigor Mortis. We do have like some death mages here, right? So we'll get a little bit of like some skeleton production, which is usually what you want when you're trying to put everybody to sleep, because skeletons don't care about that. I could have, maybe we don't actually have, actually it looks like I don't have Relief set up here for us. We are meeting up with more Lizard Shamans, so probably I will script Relief into this army next turn, because we definitely will want that with our own, fatigue play to try to prevent our units, our living units, from falling asleep. So I don't have super high hopes for this. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We're throwing some other stuff, and he has like roughly half, a little more than half of the sacreds that he had last time. So there's fewer berserkers. We have maybe roughly the same stuff, and we're trying some different tricks. So we'll see. Otherwise, I'm not going to go over everything. We're just throwing all kinds of raids all over the place. One thing is we are pulling these raiders back. I was very tempted to try to jump on top of this fort because this is frozen, but of course, his main army is here. And since we're not really threatening him anywhere else, I think there's a good chance that he splits out a portion of it and patrols, and then we would lose this relatively large raiding force that I sadly did not put any magic duel in. So we are working to correct that. This fellow is a magic dueler, so we're going to meet up, and then we're just going to backtrack, which is not great. So we're going to come back and try to, jump on top of this fort, and then, start to recapture like some of this interior here, and then hopefully, we're going to be threatening Agartha in a turn or two, like with a giant stack, so he won't really be able, he could still split out troops to defeat these raiders, but in that case, like, that's kind of a win, right? Because then that's less stuff that our, main army has to fight. So, we're throwing out some raids, we're like doing some patrolling in places to try to stop things. Our main army, our, original army is finally going to be jumping on top of Helheim, so, very happy about that, and there still isn't really a lot of resistance here. He is doing, a really good job of like splitting out just small groups of his sacreds and this, that, and the other and raiding us. So we're still kind of losing the raiding war, but, we are moving more stuff into position. And, now that we're getting some more magic duelers out there to try to prevent his cap-only mages from, cloud trapezing on top of our groups and destroying them, like hopefully the raiding war will start to turn around a little bit. And I think especially, right, if we can destroy what's in Agartha, we'll be able to split out, a lot of stuff, from this main army in the same way that he's doing and fairly quickly recapture a lot of our territory. This, of course, does mean we're going to be leaving the capital somewhat open. So there's a chance we just have to double back, right, if he doubles back and threatens the capital. But we're still going to be summoning stuff, right? We're still getting a lot of fire gems a turn, so we're going to summon in, more fire snakes, like more junk. So we are going to fill our capital with stuff. And we do have a secondary plan that requires like less chaff. So we sort of just need like a critical mass of stuff that's smaller. So I think with, 1 or 2 turns of summoning and a little bit of recruitment, we'll probably actually have enough stuff in the capital to gamble on like not bringing this army home and, still sending it against Agartha, even if this does backtrack. Or if, say, he takes his garrison in his capital, right, and creates a new army out of that and sends it down towards our capital. Otherwise, very little recruitment going on, pretty much no troop recruitment, a little bit of augur recruitment. Mostly that's, because we're somewhat broke. We're still making some money. We're making less money than it looks like here because, we are starting to stack up, good amount of unrest in places, both due to the fact that, we're losing a lot of territory, right? So, every time a province is captured, some unrest goes up. It turns out when you have a bunch of people fighting, it's not great for your tax base. And then, of course, also Illwinter is generating like some unrest every turn as people get slightly concerned that the giants are turning the world into an ice ball, and we're not really doing anything about it. But also, I apparently lost a lab on top of the throne as well. So it was this lab that burned down this turn, but I guess another lab, our other lab burned down, and I missed that. So we're going to rebuild a lab here on the throne. Like right now, this throne is pretty much on offer for Niflheim, which I don't love, but our hands are a bit tied at the moment. But if you don't have a lab on a fort, you can't get gems to your mages. It just really reduces your ability to defend that province. And I like to defend thrones. Like, we will definitely move more stuff back into this throne, assuming we don't get completely destroyed. So that's where a lot of our money is going. Otherwise, our scouting network is shrinking a bit, so we don't have as much information about the world in general. Ubar is perhaps not as checked out of this game as I thought, because this is a pretty significant force. So hopefully this doesn't come at us immediately. I'll let him know that, hey, we're not leaving any province defense here. And he seemed fine with this move, if brief. So we'll see. You never really know how people are going to react to that, but we needed this army to move through here, so if he comes and attacks us, we'll figure that out. And we're still not really sure what Fomoria's up to. They never really responded about me knifing Russ, and I did admit that I was losing, so possibly this is a fairly small border and they probably have other concerns, but they may decide why don't we just grab this little bit of Ermor here for ourselves. So we're still not really totally sure where their armies are. Possibly they're just hanging out here on Ulm. So yeah, we're just pushing our scouts around. Maybe he is on the border of Russ and just hasn't communicated that to me. So we're not sure what Fomoria is up to. We know that Vanheim's Doomstack is here. I don't think we have a non-aggression pact with Vanheim, so it's not impossible if Vanheim comes after us. Right, we are right next door. We don't really have a whole lot defending this here. But we do have a giant stack in the area, so I think probably he'll go. We saw him ping Abyssia's capital this turn, so he'll probably go to clean that out. And of course, he may have other concerns. And then we're just moving a few other scouts around. We have Jabalba here, who is, about to finish off Machaka. And then with this scout, we're hoping to catch maybe a little bit of coastal action between Therados and Niflheim. If the game chat is to be believed, Therados is, starting to push Niflheim out of the water, but it sounds like maybe most of the combat is happening, in the water. Obviously we see, Therados flag here. We saw a few other Therodian raiders running around, although we're seeing a lot fewer of their flags now. So yeah, I'm not sure who's coming out on top there. It's not super relevant for us just yet. If Niflheim were to get the upper hand, then that would sort of signal that, okay, there's a pretty good chance that Niflheim is going to try to grab our throne. But I think we have at least a few turns before that's going to happen. So yeah, I think that covers turn 71.